It's Mazzy here. So, have you ever watched Grown Man Record Night? That's a channel that one of the first channels I started watching. Mike is the host, and it's Friday night live stream. Um, I've never really gotten into interacting with those fellas there, and sometimes there's a bunch of guests. There's a main nucleus of it. I actually got turned on to Grown Man Record Night because of Aaron the Metal Theologian, because he was one of the first streaming type vinyl community people that I started watching, because I just loved that he was sitting around talking about a bunch of shit music that I never knew anything about. I'm not a metal person or a heavy metal person or a black metal person or, Bavarian Beaver, Peruvian, Soviet, Ukrainian metal person. But I like Aaron, and I just like his showcase of special flavored sodas and everything, even his cooking videos occasionally. But Grown Men Record Night is usually Friday nights, and they just stream for hours, and it's like a hangout. It's men hanging out. Boys will be boys, and he's having a contest, a 600 subscriber contest. So this is going to be about records I bought because of the record covers. Now he says 3 to 5. I'm an overachiever. I'll do fairly quickly. I picked 10. And of course, the ones I bought, like everyone else said, I think I saw Davis Winchester do this. That's how I was reminded about this contest. The ones I don't like, I got rid of. I think for the most part, unless I'm just missing something. Anyway, do click below and subscribe, because they've been around for like 76 years in the vinyl community, and they only have 600 plus subscribers. So go there, hang out. If you're watching this, like 400 of you, get them over 1,000, okay? Mazzy says so, not that I do it. So I put these 10 records, and I'm gonna go through them in chronological order. Not that I got them right when they came out. Some of them I did, and of course, I'm older than all those old friggin' men hanging out on Friday night. So it'll show in some of these records. But let's start with this. I'm a 12-year-old boy. I'm not a 12-year-old boy now. I was once a 12-year-old boy in San Francisco, and there was a music store, record store. We used to hang out, because in 12, I started my first band with my buddies, and we used to go to this music center that had instruments, and all the center were records. And I remember going in there. I'd go there every day, or almost every other day after school, and on weekends we'd hang out there. We'd look at the guitars, and we'd want to play, and wanted those Fender twin reverb and pro reverb amps. And I kept seeing this record in the bin, and it attracted me for two reasons. Freak Out, Wild. That's pretty wild for 1966. I was a Beatle fan, Paul and the Raiders, and this is like wild shit. Susie Cream Cheese, What Got Into You? I didn't know what the fuck that was, but I was amused. So I kept going back, and also the other reason, it was only like not much more, and it was a double album. So there weren't many double albums in. In fact, I don't remember any other double albums. Well, obviously Blonde on Blonde would have been the other double album in 1966, and which is probably the first one. But I finally bought this, saved up, and I bought this and brought it home. And it was so hysterical. I kept playing it. So obviously a lot of you know Freak Out, the debut Mothers of Invention on Verve. There you go. Number 1. Now number 2, chronologically 1967, but I didn't buy this until I worked in a record store in 1973, my first record job. And I was getting into country music. Obviously, I got into country rock because of the Byrds and Beau Brummels and that whole genre. But in record stores, we started playing records. But I didn't play this, but I kept seeing this cover. And I thought this was hysterical. This is a 1967 album, Porter Wagoner, The Cold Hard Facts of Life. Look at that cover. Now, if you know the song, you need to check out that song. It's an hysterical, great friggin' country song about a husband coming home, stopping at a liquor store, standing in line. Anyway, he drives in home, and the car in front of him pulls into his driveway. He's home early. Of course, his wife is hanging out, boozing it up with some other guy, and hijinks ensues. So, Porter Wagoner. Now, in 1968, I don't know why I bought this in the cover, and I heard that there was a hit song on the radio, but I didn't make the connection because I heard it, but I didn't quite get it, and I recognized the song somewhat. But I bought this cover, this album, because of the cover. Vincimus Eruptum, Blue Cheer. They were a Bay Area band, but they were not like all those other psychedelic, hippie, Grateful Dead, Jefferson Airplane type bands. They were like, I mean, this is kind of like the beginning of heavy metal, at least on the West Coast, and as far as I know, pretty early for heavy metal in any case. But I love this album, obviously, because I knew Summertime Blues, I knew the Eddie Cochran song, and then our band started covering, well, we did a version of Summertime Blues, but we did a song which is sort of an instrumental. Well, we did it as an instrumental called Out of Focus. Down, 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 down. I did that part, but Vincimus Eruptum, Power Erupt. Vincimus Eruptum. In 1969, there was a outdoor mall called Get, G-E-T. It was like government employees, something. It was discounted in San Francisco, out near the San Francisco Zoo. And for some reason, I don't know, looking back on it, why did I love this cover? But this is the debut by C Train, and I didn't know anything about C Train, and I didn't realize at the time that this was sort of the leftover remains of a band, the Blues Project. And this is a fantastic psychedelic, a little pop, but very psychedelic album. It's got the great violin playing of Richard Green, of course, Roy Blumfield, who was a drummer in the Blues Project, and Andy Kohlberg, bass and flute. So it's got flute and guitar and violin, and it's kind of psychedelic-y. Now later, the band shifted. They went to Capitol Records. George Martin of the Beatles produced them, and they got a little more country. And then I think they eventually moved from the Bay Area to Massachusetts. And Peter Rowan joined the band. It was a whole different band, but I love this record. The opening song, self-titled song called C Train, the way it ends, it's great. It's a little folky at times too, but this is on A&M Records. This is my original copy. I pulled out of that bin. I remember the moment that I bought this because of the cover, and this is one of those records I kept playing, C Train, over and over again, 1969. Also in 69, I got this record, and I think this is the very first album I ever bought by Pink Floyd, and I had heard the name, but I wasn't into the Syd Barrett stuff, and I didn't get the first, 3 albums until this album, because of the cover. I love this cover, and I just loved this. And of course, man, come on, I was playing guitar and I had played drums and my buddies, and seeing this is like instrument rock band porn. Look at that. That was so great. So that weekend I was staying at a friend's house whose older brother was there, and this girl was there. And literally, we played this record over and over and over and over again, and they took mescaline. And I was young. I was 14, 15, and I did not take drugs at that time. But I remember playing this all night, and they're hopped up on mescaline. So, Pink Floyd. 1970, I knew the name Miles Davis, but I had no Miles Davis records. I don't think closest jazz record I had was the second Blood, Sweat, and Tears record. It's kind of jazzy rock, obviously. But I bought this because of the cover. I thought this was so great. God, I mean, this is one of the great covers of all time, right? I bought this because of the cover. I knew the name Miles Davis, but I didn't know it. I took it home and I just didn't get it. It was too bizarre for me for 1970, early 1970. I was 15 years old, just barely 16, and I got rid of it. I don't remember how I got rid of it. Because those days you couldn't really, once something was open, bring it back to a store, but probably traded it in. But 3 years later, when I would work in a record store, someone was playing it and I fell in love with it. So, Bitches Brew. I mean, one of the great albums of all time that I just didn't get. 1972, my senior year of high school, in the mall near my house, there was a Magnavox store that had Magnavox hi-fi, consoles and desktop radios, just all Magnavox branded stores in those days. And they had a little small record section, and they were kind of getting rid of, I think, in 1972, they were getting rid of their records, because people went to record stores. They didn't go to those stores because they sold at list price, and we had Tower, and we had the discount records and the chains. And I saw this cover, and I just love this cover. And I didn't know who Wright Cooter was. This is his second album, and this is Into the Purple Valley, Wright Cooter. This is me working backwards, getting into this bluesy stuff, this like, you know, Sleepy John Estes and, you know, Muddy Waters, the acoustic part of that kind of stuff. And I went back and got into the whole blues thing, Hey Porter, Vigilante Man, the Woody Guthrie kind of stuff. This has been a lifelong love with Wright Cooter because of this album. Just love this record. Plus it was on sale, like literally $1 cheaper than anything else on those days. I mean, these days $1 is a lot, I guess, but those days when records were $3 or $4, I mean, this was probably, I got it for maybe $2.50 or something. I can't remember. But Wright Cooter, this album I bought because of the cover and loved it. Now we're getting into more recent times, the last few years. I bought this because of the cover. This is a 214. This is Flying Lotus. I just love psychedelic-y kind of, you know, look at, that looks like I kind of had a feeling, I'd heard the name Flying Lotus. It's a DJ who does sort of fusion-y, jazzy, hip-hop, psychedelic, jazz, electronic music. I mean, a little spiritual. It reminded me like of Alice Coltrane, that kind of Coltrane spiritual kind of cover. And it's very ambitious record with a lot of different people, a lot of hip hop artists and mixing in and guitar players and electronic artists. And I just love this cover. And that was just a total cover thing. I've gotten the album after this since. And this stuff goes a long way. So you have to really immerse yourself in it, but it's great to put on really loud and just have it on in the background. So Flying Lotus, and this album's called You're Dead, Flying Lotus. I think he was up in here in Seattle for a while, but he's maybe he's LA based probably now. This is an album, this is their 7th album, and I had heard the name, but I'd never heard one note from Explosions in the Sky, The Wilderness. But I love that cover. I kind of like graphic-y, psychedelic-y things, and it's a bit electronic, rock and roll, spacey. I want to compare it to Pink Floyd. That seems to be a go-to to think about. It's not really like that at all, but Wilderness in the Sky by, The Wilderness by Explosions in the Sky. Really kind of great package, multi-level set. One of those hard records that it's impossible to get out and put back in. Like it's really a shit show, but kind of a cool record, some more recent. And lastly, I just bought this for the cover, and I'm just throwing this because I like throwing this. I think it's a great cover. This would never fly in today's world, but this is one of the comps that Light in the Attic put out of Lee Hazelwood. And of course, I knew Lee Hazelwood from Sugar Town, all the stuff he produced with Nancy Sinatra and not Jackson. Yeah, they did a version of Jackson also, I think. And Some Velvet Morning, and he wrote Boots for Made for Walking. But I just think this is a fucking fantastic cover. Look at that. Now, yeah, I'm going to show you that. I hate people that just tease you and don't show you that thing. I mean, come on. Would this fly today if someone put this record out like that? Aside from, I remember Electric Ladyland. That's one I almost showed, but I knew Jimi Hendrix, and I bought the UK cover of Electric Ladyland with all the naked women on the cover. But I think it's hysterical. You know, especially if you notice they're wearing mustaches. That's the funny part of it too. Not just that they're, you know, around him, but Lee Hazelwood, like what a entrepreneur, producer, bon vivant man about town in LA in the late 60s. Anyway, that's it. I'll put links below to the Metal Theologian and Metal Night, Grown Man Record Night, Mike's channel. Please, really, seriously, go there and just, you know, it's a hangout type of thing. And it's fun if you're into that mood sometimes on a Friday night. So check it out and subscribe. Let's get him up there. And this is his contest. Good idea. Sorry I went on, but, you know, it's what I do. So take care. Mazzy loves you.